taking you back to one of our top stories. I was telling you earlier that the High Court in Johannesburg yesterday granted an order to begin the liquidation process at Comair. The embattled airline operator was grounded at the beginning of June after running into cash flow problems. Tracking that story for us is business reporter Kopano Gumbi. Kopano, welcome. Let's start with what this means in real terms for Comair.
It really is the end of an era for Comair, Tembegile. The airline, after 76 years in operation, the two airlines that it operates, Kulula and the domestic flights for British Airways, all of those are now no longer going to be in the air. So apparently that's about 40% of the total air traffic that we have in the country. All of that capacity is no longer available to consumers, so we should expect to have more expensive flights in the future. But also, 2,000 odd people are now without work.
And correct me if I'm wrong, there could still be a process, right, to make some kind of submission from the interested parties about a possible return, but they'd have to convince the court that that is feasible.
Absolutely, and the way that they would return is as a brand new entity, because at this point, with the liquidation process well underway by the courts, all that essentially is going to be done next is that they're going to appoint a liquidator who's then going to begin to sell off the assets that are available in the organization. Should interested parties want to create a new airline after that, it would be under a new brand, new name, new company registration, and maybe new management.
Let's talk first about the impact then on travellers in South Africa. As you said, Comair basically handled the largest chunk of people flying domestically. We've seen since the news of its initial suspension, and then finally when we heard that liquidation was going to begin, a surge in airline ticket prices.
And we should expect that is going to continue for the time being. There are fewer flights that are operating. There's only about 2 or 3 carriers right now that are in operation. And so prices are most likely going to go up, and availability of flights is going to be a problem as well. We heard from one of the competitors in the market saying, well, the demand sets the price in this situation. So as demand increases, our prices, we are price takers, and our prices would go up in that way. And so that is most likely going to be the impact for travellers.
And labour, just over 1,000 jobs now at risk as a result of this development?
Officially, 1,000 plus, about 1,400 jobs are officially done and dusted as it relates to Comair and its operations. Those people are most likely going to get some kind of severance, but that's part of the liquidation process. So at least we know in the long run they will be able to have some kind of income. But for many, having not been paid since May, looking towards a lengthy liquidation process, it does spell some trouble for the people who used to work at Comair for the foreseeable future.
You also have to wonder how nervous players in the local aviation industry are, Kopano, when you consider that there were multiple issues with the SAA, money at the centre. Now you've got Comair that's gone under, and the other players are still also hoping, desperate in fact, to get back to pre-pandemic travel numbers.
Well, we've seen, at least from one of the competitors, I won't mention their names, that they've managed to manage their books quite successfully. And so operating, it is a difficult environment. The costs are rising astronomically, and there's some things that are...
Cost of fuel now, what's going on in Russia?
There's some things that are beyond their control, like that, the cost of fuel. But when it comes to demand for flights, they're probably going to be in a very good place. And so it won't be so concerning from an operational point for them. As long as they can manage their business and run it successfully, they should be okay. And SAA, as we know, still has the benefit of having some government backing where necessary. And so as they slowly start to get back all of the routes they had before and everything related to how SAA was run domestically, they should be fine too.